This video is going to cover a single file upload. As you can see, we're looking at the specifications here. For this video, you're given a set of starter files. Those starter files I have here locally. So I've just got them on my desktop on my laptop here. And then I have a folder open to the server. This is the folder that I'm working in on the server. So it happens to be Lab 8 at the time of this recording. Doesn't really matter which lab it's called. The actual functionality is going to stay pretty much the same. Right now my Lab 8 is empty, so I'm going to grab all of these starter files and just copy those. And I'm going to paste those over here. Push them to the server. That's going to take a few seconds, so we'll just wait for that to happen. And it looks like we've got everything up there. Now that we've got our starter files there, what I want to do is go ahead and navigate to that page in the web browser and see if it loads. So now I've navigated to that page. I've given you an index page to start with, which is just plain HTML. So if you don't have that, you can easily create it. All it is some links. And then this upload one is going to go to this first page that I've also given you. Again, this is easy to create. This part here is plain HTML. Any of you could sit down and create this pretty quickly. We've got a drop-down list of categories that we could place things in, and then we've got file where we can reach out and we can choose a file. Mine happens to open up to a different lab that has some images in it, so I'm going to work with that. And I can choose an image, and then I can hit upload file. Now right now, the upload file part's not going to work, and that's the focus of this video. So the first thing is you need to set permissions. So the internet user has to be able to upload files to the server. So I'm going to come back to my server folder. Again, I'm on the server. It does not, you don't need to do this locally on your, so I've got my local folder. Again, this one's on my desktop. Doing it here is not going to do anything. We're only talking about on the server. So on the web server, I've got three folders. I've got an upload, a thumb, and a mid. And what we need to do is right click on it, go to properties, security tab, edit. There are two things in here that we need to edit. One is called IUSR, the other one is IIS_IUSRS. Both of those we want to give modify permissions. So I'll hit modify and say apply. I'll come down to the second one, check modify under allow and hit apply. And we need to repeat that for the other two folders. So I'll go to thumb, right click, properties. If you have a Mac, I understand that those function differently. If you're not able to accomplish this on the Mac, I suggest you go to any lab on campus, log in briefly, go to the folders and follow the instructions that are here. It won't take you long at all. So I've done two folders. We'll go ahead and do the third folder. Security tab, edit button, IUSR, modify, apply. Go to the second one, IIS_, modify, apply. Hit OK. So now we've done that to all three of our folders. And what that does is allow a web page like a PHP to actually accept an image, in our case a JPEG image, from the user and upload it and store it into one of these folders. So we're physically moving a file from that person's laptop to the web server. And so as you can imagine, we need some special permissions for that, because you don't want people to be able to upload to just anywhere or upload anything that they want. So I'm going to work locally, and once I get things to a certain point, I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop them over to the server. I am working at home, so it's a little faster to work locally and then drag and drop my files. So that's how we're going to start. I've got Dreamweaver open here, and I'm going to open my local files. I'm going to grab the index and the upload page, and I'm going to drop those into Dreamweaver. Now the index page we're not going to make any changes to, but we opened it up to look at it. If we look at the code, there's not much there. We do have a session start for PHP, and then we are including a menu, which is in the includes folder. Upload.php. This is the page, as you can see, that we looked at in the browser. If we come down in here, you'll see there are some things that we need to just notice for right now. The first thing is that we are submitting to, we have form ID equals form 0, method equals post. We're submitting to a page called doupload.php, and this right here is very important. The encryption type must equal multiport/form-data. If it does not equal that, the default is not that. So if it does not equal that, it will not upload a file. So it does need to equal that. There are some other pieces in here. I've added a couple of hidden variables that says that the source page for submitting is upload.php. I've set a max file size that's here. And then I've got my category drop-down list. And then you'll notice here we've got our file. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Come on, Dreamweaver. This input tag here that I've highlighted, input type equal file, name equal user file, ID equal user file, that right there creates this browse button and text box that's here. So just typing that and hitting save and loading it in the browser creates that text box and the browse button. And then we've got a submit button down here. What I want you to notice is that the name of the submit button is called upload file. We're going to use that. So that's just looking at that code there. If we come back here, we're going to do the first simple upload that's there. There's not a terrible lot of code to it. There's shy of 60 lines. Oh, well, actually, that's the wrong one. Again, there's not a terrible lot of code there. There's shy of 60 lines. And half of those 60 lines are either white space or comments. So there's not a terrible lot to go through there. So let's go ahead and get started on that do upload process. So I'm going to go to File, New. We need a new PHP. I'll create that. I'm going to go View Code because there's nothing but PHP in here, so we don't need a live viewer. Let's go ahead and start this, and we're going to start with a session start. So there's my open and close PHP, and we're going to start with a session start. So we have session variables that can be running, and those are usually going to be error messages for what we have here. Once I've got that, let's go ahead and save it. I'm going to do a save as. Again, mine is sitting out on the desktop, and I'm going to call it doupload.php. And now you'll see on my client side on my desktop, I've got that page that's sitting there. And again, we come back here to the upload page, and in action equals, it matches doUpload.php. After the session start, when uploading files, we can set a time limit. So there's a built-in function in PHP that allows you to set a time limit. And we set that in seconds, as you saw when it first came up there. I'm going to put 300, which will give us 5 minutes. And then after that, we're going to start our PHP. So we're going to do an if statement. And what we're going to check for is if upload file is not equal to the empty string. So basically, we want to make sure that this came from the upload page. Otherwise, we don't want anyone to be able to do anything with it. So we'll do an underscore post, maybe. Finally. And we are looking for upload file. And if that upload file is not equal to the empty string, you'll remember that upload file is actually the name of the submit button. So if I come back here, input type equals submit, name equals upload file with a capital F, lowercase u. So we're checking to make sure that we got that submitted from the previous page. If that is in fact the case, then we want to go ahead and handle some things. If it's not the case, we'll quickly put an else on down here. And in that else, we're just going to set an error message. That file name is going to be bad file type. We're going to set it equal to the empty string. The last thing on the page is going to be a header redirect. I won't put that in just yet. We'll come up here and do the rest. So everything's fine. We've landed on the page like we're supposed to. The first thing I want to do is grab the file extension. So I'm going to create a PHP variable called $fileext, and I am going to use some string manipulation using string archar. That's a reverse character search, and when it first came up, you could see the types of things that are allowed. So we're going to do $_files. So just like we have an underscore post and an underscore get and an underscore session, we have an underscore files. And what we are looking for there is user file, all lowercase. And after that set of square brackets, we can do another set of square brackets. So this is a two-dimensional array. And what we're looking for in the second part is the name of the user file. We'll put a comma, and then what we're looking for from the reverse side is a period. So if you can imagine a file name is ending in .jpeg or .gif, or any number of things, we're going to start at the end of the file name and go back until we encounter that period, and then we're going to grab whatever comes after the period. At this point, if you wanted to, you could go ahead and do an echo file extension to see what that looks like. So all you'd have to do is choose a JPEG from that drop-down list, hit submit, it comes to this page, and it should write out the file extension that's there. After that, we're going to do a nested if statement, and we're going to check, is the file extension equal to a JPEG, a GIF, or a PNG? So I do an if statement. It's going to be an if-else, so I'm going to go ahead and complete the if-else structure there. Inside of the if statement, I'm going to leave a little bit of space here, and I'm going to look for first if the file extension is not equal to JPEG. So I'll do $file.ext. If it is not equal to, we need a set of double quotes and a .jpg. Now what I'm going to do is group that, because I'm going to also look for GIF and ping. So I'm going to do a logical AND there. And I'm going to copy this grouping from parenthesis to parenthesis. And I'm going to come on the other side of the logical and paste it. But I'm going to change that JPEG this time to a GIF. I'll put another logical and then I'm going to change that JPEG again, this time to a ping. So it says if it's not equal to a JPEG and not equal to a GIF and not equal to a ping, then we want to do something here. So what we are going to do is set the session variable of bad file type equal to you cannot upload a file of type put a space there, and then I'm going to do concatenation. So I've got a period there, and then I'm going to use that variable $file extension. And so if they tried to upload a Word document, this would wind up saying you cannot upload a file of type docx, and so on. So however you want to, whatever file extension there you're familiar with. Now, if it does equal one of those three, then we're going to get into this else statement. So inside of this else statement, we actually need the file name. So we're going to create a new variable, and we're going to use that $_files once again. And again, we're going to user file and then name. And that's going to give us the name of the file that was pushed to us from the previous page. The next line is going to make sure the file is uploaded and it's initially uploaded to the computer's temp directory. So this is going to be an if statement that actually performs a function inside of that if statement. So inside of that if statement, we're going to say if it is not, so we'll do the exclamation point, is _ uploaded _ file. And you'll see it change color there as I complete it. And what we want to put in there is, again, the $_ files with user file and name. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it from there down to there. So we're going to pass that into the function is uploaded file. And if that is not true, then we have a problem. So what we will do is put an echo statement here. And that echo statement will say problem, possible file upload attack. And if that happens, we want to stop all processing immediately. So if we get by that, that means things are still good. That means it made it to the temp folder and is ready to be moved from that temp folder into its location where it needs to be. Now, a little later, we'll look at connecting to a database. And this is about where that would go. And what we would do is get the count from the database. So let's say if we're uploading to a category, and let's say that category is let's say your site is about animals and the category is tigers. You would see how many tigers are already there. We'd reach out to the database. We'd say, oh, there's already 12 there, so the next one needs to be 13 or something like that. What I'm going to do is make a counter and say counter is equal to, let's just make it 24. Next, we need to name the file, and this is going to include what comes from the previous page. You saw on the previous page there was a drop-down list that had 3 categories that you could choose from, and we could add whatever we want to that on the previous page. The goal is on this page we don't have to mess with actually typing whatever category it is. So we're going to create another variable called upFile, and we'll set it equal to, and we're going to have some concatenation here, the upload folder slash. So that's the folder that we have to work with. We set permissions on it. And then what we want to do is concatenate in the category from the previous page. So I do a period for concatenation, and I want to do a post, and what I'm looking for is category. That is my drop-down list, my select from the previous page in HTML. So that will get me, if my categories were, let's see, furniture, fixtures, and accessories. So let's say that I chose fixtures. That will get me upload slash fixtures, and then I want my counter that's there. So I've got a period again for concatenation. I'm going to do $counter. So now it's going to be upload slash fixtures 24, but I still need a file extension, so I need to concatenate this together with a file extension to go there. My file extension is up above, so I'll do a $file extension there. Now what I do want to do is ensure that I have the period there. So what we want to do is echo out this upFile variable and go and look at it and make sure that it actually says fixtures 24 dot whatever the file extension is, as opposed to not having the dot there. So let's go ahead and save that. That's going to go to my desktop that's here. I'm going to go ahead and this will only run on the server. So I'm going to drag and drop it to the server. You cannot run this on your desktop. So now I've got this page over here. I'm going to come back to this page in my web browser. I'm still on upload.php. Let's choose fixtures. I choose a file, and I hit upload file, and it goes to do upload.php. And what I've got here is a problem possible file upload attack. Now that's text that I put in there, so I need to figure out what's happening here. And this may be that I need to go to the server and add permissions on the temp folder. Let's first come to here and let's look in the upload directory. We'll see the upload directory is blank, so it was it's definitely not there, but we haven't actually moved it because we haven't done the copy command, which is the next line of code. So if we come back here, we've got if not is uploaded file, files, user file, and name. I see what I've done already. We did a copy and paste, my mistake, but this is good because we actually learned something here. This should not be name. This should actually be temp underscore name. So tmp underscore name. And I'm going to save that again. I'm going to make sure that we save it. So now I've got, this is my desktop again. I'm going to drag and drop from my desktop to the server. I'm going to copy and replace that. Good. Hopefully I've solved the problem. We'll find out. And now I could just do a refresh and hit continue again. It doesn't really matter. We'll go to the page again, and now you can see that we've gotten past that error message, and we're going to the upload folder / fixtures24.jpg. And if you remember, it was that dot that I wanted to make sure was there. So now let's come back here. I'm going to comment out that echo statement. And after this, we need to copy the file into the location on the server. So I'm going to use the if statement just like we did up above. And this time I'm going to do if not copy. So you'll see it change there. And it's going to be very similar to what's above. And it takes two parameters. The first parameter is what we had up here, and we do definitely need temp_name. So we're going to copy that and paste it in there, and we're going to do a comma space, so you can see we're still within that copy function there. The first parameter is that underscore files, user file, and temp name, and the second parameter is up file, the name that we want to call it, right? We want to change the file name when we place it into that folder. Now, if that does not happen, again, we want to put out an echo statement to alert us to that, and we're going to do, problem, could not move file into directory. Now, if you get this, it's likely a permissions problem. But we just did the permissions, so hopefully that's not an issue. So now at the end here, we're going to do a session variable for bad file type. And we're going to set the message equal to file successfully uploaded. Lastly, we want to do a redirect, and that redirect is just going to take us back to, you can either go back to index or to upload.php. We'll do location upload.php. So we'll save that, and that's all the code for this page, but let's test it. Well, first let's push it to the server. So I'm going to grab do upload off the desktop, and I'm going to push it to the server. We'll replace the file. Then we'll come to the web browser. And now I'm going to upload furniture, and I'm going to choose the purple clouds and hit upload. I get a message that says file successfully uploaded. That was built into this upload.php that was there. I'm going to go into my upload folder and see that I have furniture24.jpg there. If I go ahead and see if it'll give us the preview. There's my purple clouds. Let's come back here. This time I'm going to do fixtures. I'm going to choose that category. I'm going to choose Windows looking icon. Hit upload file. I come back here. It says uploaded successfully. And there you can see that I've already got fixtures24.jpg. I'm going to do one as accessories. I'm going to choose this one that's got some green in it. Hit upload file. It'll come back. I'm going to go back to the server. You'll see that I've got accessories24.jpg. Now, if you are having troubles and it's not uploading, but you're not getting an error message, you need to comment out this line of code, the header redirect, so that it stops on this page. When you get it to stop on this page, then you will see an error message. But if you leave this header redirect, and when you're finished, the header redirect should be there. But the reason we put it in last was so that we would stop on this page and find an error. So if you've put it in and something's not working right, comment it back out, and then try it and see if you get an error message in the browser and see what happens. Now there are some other things, like we've already uploaded one of each category, and they all three have 24. So there again, that's where we connect to the database and we see how many of them are there. We take that number, we add 1 to it, and then that becomes your number that goes here. And that's for another video. So that's going to complete our upload, our single file upload. We set permissions. We did a little bit of code. We checked for file extensions. Actually, let's try uploading something that's not a JPEG. We didn't actually test that code. So let me choose something. If I have something that I can put in there. Let's try this Excel spreadsheet. And you'll see that that piece of code is working properly. And also that it does not exist here. So that concludes the single page upload. In a different video, we'll cover multi-page or multi-file uploads, which is not all that different from what you've already done here. It's just making a little difference, and also adding some resize code. And actually, the resize code I've given you. So that's really just copying and pasting, and then passing the variable in there. So that'll be all for this video, and thank you.